Hello, good morning. How are you? All right. Today we're going to be talking about using bits, which are just Boolean values, 0, 1, true, false, yes, no. And we're going to work with the program that we made from the emulate video. So start from there if you followed that video. If not, grab yourself a fresh program. First thing we'll do is we're going to go online with our emulated controller. All right, we are online. Next thing we're going to do is create a rung. Now there's two ways to do this. You can hit Control plus R, or you can come up here. I think once you start programming more, you'll probably use Control R because look how fast that is. All right. So we will talk about these bits. We have XIC, XIO, there's OTE, there's OTL, and there's OTU. So I did that by typing out structured text. That's XIC, XIO, OTE, OTL, and OTU. If you're not going to remember that, you can come up here, select the bit tab, hit Examine On, which is XIC, Examine Off, XIO, which is what XIC stands for, examine if closed, examine if open. And then there's OTE, which is just your output bit, OTL, which is your output latch bit, and OTU, which is your output unlatched bit. Okay, let's go ahead and create some tags. Tag XIC, why not? Tag XIO. I should explain what I'm doing there. You can either show you on this one. I'm just typing here, so tag OTE. That's just the name I'm going to give it. And if you right click and hit new, it will bring you to this window to create a new tag. Or Control plus W does the same thing. And then you can either hit create or press enter. It defaults to a bool, which is a Boolean, because that is what we're using. We're using these bits. Create. And then we'll call this one tag OTL, OTU, because we'll use it for both the latch and the unlatch. So Control W, enter. And a cool thing you can do is you can left click and drag. And now it's used here too. So this line of code we're just going to use to monitor these tags so we can see how they change state. So we'll make them all XICs and examine if closed. And you see there's no output here, so we get a red error. We'll do our no op, which is an operation. It just means no operation. This line of code is doing nothing. Just there for us. Okay. So an OTE, do our cool drag thing here. OTE is just an output. So if I put my XIC here, and we'll just see how this operates. So to toggle this on, I'm going to use Control plus T, or you can right click and press this, which it tells you the shortcut here. Control toggle. See this being on turns this on. So now it is closed. Output is on 1 instead of 0. Okay. Now let's do the same thing for an OTL, OTU, OTL. Once we turn this on, the output comes on. The key difference here is when I turn this XIC off, the OTE is now off because what is to the left of it is off. The OTL is still on because it is latched. The way to turn that off would be to use an OTU, output unlatch. Use our XIO, but I know we named it XIO, but it's not like it has to stay an XIO, so we'll just call it an XIC. Examine if closed. So, continue. Still on until I do this. Now it is off. Now you might be wondering what happens if this is on and this is on. Well, the way the logic works, it scans from left to right, and down. So if I turn this on to try to latch this, it will instantly be turned off on the next rung, so we will never see this turn on. Let me show you by toggling this on. What's to the left is on, but this is still off. What's to the left is on, so it unlatches it. So the next line unlatches it, so we never see it on. Now, OTLs and OTUs, they can be used anywhere throughout the code. There's no limit on how many times you could use it. An OTE, you should only ever use once in your code, because that is your output. It's either off or on, and what's to the left of it is what should tell it to turn on or off. Okay. Now, let's look at a practical example here, or what might be a little practical. So we're going to hit Control-R to create some rungs. I will type XIC. We'll call this start PB. And then we'll make an OTE. We'll call it running output. So what we're about to do, this is called a seal. So here I just created a branch. This seals it on. Start here. This seals it on, so it will hold this OTE on because it's not a latch bit. So we're acting like this is a push button. I'll hit Control-T to toggle it on and toggle it back off with Control-T. Now it stays on because it's latched. A problem with this latch is there's nothing to unlatch it, so it will always stay on now. So let's just put a XIO, examine if open, and call it stop PB. Now you can think of these as maybe push buttons on an HMI or physical IO push button. This is just an example. So now, if somebody were to press the stop PB, Control-T, it unlatches the logic. And now they let go of the stop button, it goes back to its normal state. Now we can toggle it on, turns on, off, unlatched. Now the same thing can be achieved with the OTLs and OTUs. It is really just preference. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just using structured text because I think it's faster. Once you program more, this is probably what you'll do. But the same thing can be achieved by using this button, dragging. Oops. All right, now we have our OTU. We'll take our start push button, stop push button. So here it will be an XIC because it is unlatching. Call this running output, call it latch, just so it's different. Control W, create, and do our drag thing. Okay, let's go ahead and test that. Now, same thing, toggle my start on. Output is latched, this output is latched. Same thing. Now we hit our stop button, and now it is unlatched. So it's really preference, doesn't necessarily matter. Just remember as you do things to always create comments. So we should put comments on our tags. By doing that, you just hit right click, edit, or as I like to do as a shortcut, Control D. And we can just say, this is a start push button. Stop push button. Operation running. Operation running 2. You can also create run comments, which you hit right click, edit run comment, or if you're on the run, you can hit Control D and just call it start logic. Start logic 2. All right. And that is a brief overview of XICs, XIOs, OTEs, OTLs, and OTUs. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it helped. As always, please comment if you have any questions, like, and subscribe. Thank you. Don't forget to save. Until next time.